Hello, TCC. I'm Camila Abdusattorov, and I'm here today with Dr. Douglas Price. He is director of Study Abroad program, and today we're going to discuss TCC Study Abroad trips for 2024.
Excellent. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Welcome. Welcome to our studio.
Thank you.
So, can you provide a history of TCC Study Abroad trips?
I can. I actually started working with the Study Abroad program back in 2005, 2006. Dr. Laura Walker, who was my predecessor, worked with the world languages at the school and also the Study Abroad program. And then I took that over back in 2006 officially. It actually is officially called International Campus.
Oh,
which
okay.
I love that name.
Yeah.
We also had a sister program that she created, identical to the International Campus. It was called American Campus, that we've renamed Study Away for just domestic type trips like New York or California, New Mexico, etc. But it's actually called International Campus, which is brilliant because it's an extension of TCC, especially when it comes like to conduct issues, because what you would do on this campus is what you would then behave like across the globe. So it's kind of a nice thing. But study abroad is what people know it as. So we kind of say study abroad, but International Campus is the official title. Yeah. And so that's awesome. And then we just have kept the program running continuously until COVID. And then we dabbled a little bit with some online virtual type things that just weren't popular. But now in the last couple of years, we've brought back the actual physical travel. So we're excited about that.
Could you provide an overview for this upcoming trips for 2024?
I can. We usually start with about, the most we've ever offered is about 10. That was that was before COVID. But we usually start with about 8 to 10, and then some of the trips just don't make, or the faculty elect not to go on the trips. But the ones that are making would be Dominica, down in the Caribbean, for a nursing program.
Yeah.
And then across the pond would be a trip to London. And then we have a trip going to Rome, and I think Rome and Florence. And then to France, Paris, and other cities. Chaumont, which is Francois Sullivan's hometown, that's where they go. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. And then as far as Japan, we have a trip to Japan that's planned.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is. It's neat to have students from here go across the world. It's wonderful. It's a great feeling.
Okay, so the program, is it more intellectual? Does it have more intellectual side to it, or more cultural, immersing side?
That's a great question. It's really both. It's really both. It's designed. What happens in terms of I should have mentioned this earlier. The mechanics of the program is that students will enroll in a course that's then linked to the travel.
Okay.
So the TCC course, whatever it may be, is embedded in the travel experience. There may be some work before you go, and then after. Some models of study abroad, the trip is the whole course.
Yes.
We tend to do a little bit of pre-work and then post-work and all that. But it probably hits all senses and all elements of the human experience. It's intellectual. I'd like to kind of capture study abroad. The essence of study abroad is engaging with difference. Because typically if you leave Oklahoma, even if you went to Kansas or Texas, but in this case it's abroad, you're engaging with difference daily, maybe hourly. And I know you know that, having coming from Uzbekistan, that everything's probably different, but now it's becoming more familiar. But but it's intellectual, it's emotional. I like the fact that students learn to navigate various systems, like monetary systems, social systems, cultural systems, different foods, culinary. So I think it really, to use an engine metaphor, fires on all cylinders of the human experience. It's just, it's intellectual, it's emotional, People might get homesick even though they're going to be gone for only 10 days. I miss home. It's like, well, you were just telling me you didn't like home. Now you miss it. But it's really is a transformational experience. It's almost hard to put into words. So it's all, that's a great question.
Yeah. So how do you handle language barriers when you travel, when students travel there?
The trips, for the most part, are offered in English.
Okay.
We do have a trip to France that focuses on French, and then a Japan trip on Japanese, but they're a little bit more cultural focused.
Yeah.
However, students on those trips are learning the language, and we encourage them to use the language where possible. Both the Japan and the France trip actually incorporate a homestay. So if you and I and others were traveling, we would stay in a French home or a Japanese home, usually for 3 or 4 nights.
Okay.
So if you're in advanced levels of French, then your homestay may look a little bit different. Maybe there's no one that speaks English. However, if you've had French 1 and you're kind of at the lower level of learning, you want the homestay. Francoise would orchestrate a homestay where there's at least one English-speaking person in case there's an emergency, which is rare.
Yeah.
But that way there's comfort that you can navigate in your own language. So, but they're mainly offered in English.
Yeah.
But we like the trips that encourage them to use their new language skills. So that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's fun.
Yeah. Okay, what steps do you take to make sure students are interacting with locals, or?
The faculty, that, I'm not there to see, but I know that faculty orchestra, well, I've been on a couple, but faculty orchestra opportunities for students to of course, like visit a museum, which may not be as interactive, but they encourage the best possible. You can't force the interaction, but we encourage it. And some students who are more extroverted probably will have no trouble saying hi to a stranger. Someone who's very introverted like me, although I like to engage with difference, so I may be the exception, but if you're introverted, you may not be, so you might be shy. You can be shy anywhere.
Yeah.
But you couple that with being in another country, makes it kind of difficult, but they encourage that as much as possible. I have an orientation session with all the students before they travel, and I encourage them to, you may never be in this particular country again. Take advantage of it. Ask questions. Ask them about something. Let them tell about it. Just don't ask them, where are you from, or what do you like to eat? Just say, hey, tell me about this building, or is this something that may not be too personal, but let them talk and kind of be the text, if you will, of the city and the environment. And people like to share their stories and all that. Try to be respectful in that. And so they work with, but we can't really, we want that to happen.
Yes.
We also encourage students to go in small groups if they venture out on their own. They have some free time, they're going to go shopping, or they're going to go to another museum that's not on the agenda, that they stay in small groups. So because of that, maybe students won't reach out as much because they're kind of going to cling together, which I totally get that.
Yes, yes.
But you don't want them to go off on their own.
Yeah.
So that is a barrier, and a good barrier. But that doesn't mean 3 students can go up to someone and just ask them, and they say, excuse me, is this building, how old is this building? Whatever it could be. But to engage with others is the beauty of it, and to hear their stories.
Yes, yes.
And then the language, though. I mean, if you're in London on the London trip, you should be okay, but other world areas like Japan, if you don't know Japanese, you're not going to visit with locals. But we do encourage any student to learn a few words of the other language to try. So, yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else you would like to share with us?
I don't. I think the only thing I'd like to share is that having done this for 15 plus years, just to see the reaction of students and when they go back. We used to have trips to Nicaragua. There were service learning in the medical area that were just phenomenal. We're not able to go down there at the present time, the travel warnings, for example. But just the transformation of people when they engage with difference internationally is just phenomenal. I love the word ineffable. It's a big word for me, but it's that notion of I can't even describe what it's like to have gone somewhere. I also like to highlight the fact that study abroad is so essential for others, and especially in terms of their cultural awareness and their future job. If you're interviewing in a job,
Yeah.
and have you traveled internationally? Well, I have. And all of a sudden, if they've traveled, you can go right into travel stories. And it's just
Yeah.
like it just opens up this whole new culture. You lost your luggage, or you did this, or something happened. You have these stories you can share. Or what did you see? Did you take photos? And
Yeah.
it just opens up this whole world of, oh my gosh, we have something in common with someone I didn't even know that we would have that in common.
Yeah.
So it's great for it's not cheap. Usually trips are around $3,000, $3,500,
Yeah.
but it's an investment, and it creates that story within to be shared with others. And
Yes.
it's awesome. So I get excited about it, so I can talk all day, which I don't think that's our plan, but.
That's
Anyway,
awesome. Well,
yeah.
thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. Great questions. If you have any more, let me know.
Okay, thank
That'd
you.
be great. Thanks, Camila.
Thank you.